Good evening, guys. Monday Novak News. We are talking tonight about congratulations. You did not sell. Stay tuned. This is going to be oh, doom and gloom, blah, blah, blah. Honestly, auction clearance rates. Here tonight, we are going to be talking to you guys about the facts, what we're seeing here on the ground with auction clearance rates, and what happens if you did not sell your property. Lots to talk about tonight, guys, but we do want to be talking to you and making sure that you are getting the cold, hard facts about what is going on in the property market. This is particularly on the Northern Beaches, but we're hearing the patterns and the rhythms right across the market. What do you think, Mark?
It's real. It's happening.
Yeah.
It's scary. Like, I think people are forgetting
Yeah.
the whole, this, like, in the scheme of things, what it all actually means to them. So
Yeah.
people are very in the moment. And I think holistically, when they look at a view of where they are, it's actually a really good position. But sometimes when you're right up close in the shit of it, it's scary.
Yeah. So I want to tell you guys a story about a property that I had listed back in 2020, 28 Foam Street in Freshwater. At the time, we could not get 2.6 million for the property. Beautiful home, beautifully renovated, great location, Freshwater, very tightly held area. And at that moment, or at that time, it had been on the market for about 3 months and we couldn't get 2.6 million. And I'd called those vendors and said, you know what, hold the property and I will call you when the market comes up. You don't need to sell. And it just didn't make sense to them. They wanted to move out of area. They wanted to cash out and go and buy a beautiful property up on the North Coast. Anyway, and that's exactly what I did. I called them up about 18 months later and I said, guys, the time is now. The market's hot. Let's go. Let's launch the property. And we did. And the property sold within 12 days and I made them $3.55 million.
A million more.
$1 million more. All right. So a great agent in this market will give you the cold, hard facts about what is going on. Every single property that I have got on the market at the moment, I've got an offer on. Every single property. Now, whether or not that works for the vendor to accept those offers, I can't decide that for these vendors. Some vendors, they're just simply not making money if they're selling at that level. The vendors that are transacting and they're selling in this market and then they're buying in this market, they're the ones that are making things work because it is a wonderful time to be buying. A wonderful time to be buying.
And it's also, I think, you know, and I'm always using the word essential. What's essential to people at the moment? You know, you've really got to look at where you're going with that next move, because certainly people that are upgrading, it's your mortgage or your changeover or the mortgage you're going to take on for your upgrade is less than what it was 6 to 12 months ago. That is a terrific story for people that are upgrading. Now, often the downgraders, again, then when we apply that, the essential glasses over it, the downgraders don't really care because they've just done so well over 15, 25, 35 years. They're going, you know what, whether I'm selling for X or Y, it doesn't really change my life. Let's just do this. We're excited. So it's a pretty good story, the marketplace at the moment. But some of the media that I've been seeing, it would be just doing my head in.
You know what? And this is the thing, and this is why we like to get on air, guys, and give you the cold, hard facts, the truth. And sometimes it's non-glorified, right? Sometimes it is, not sometimes, but always we are giving you the absolute truths about what we are seeing right here on the ground, particularly on the Northern Beaches. Now, there's certain markets that are still performing really, really well. I'll speak to certain agents and they'll be like, oh, no, it's crazy here. We don't have enough stock on the market.
I'll talk about rentals as well. So you won't remind me on that.
Yep, we will. We'll cover that as well. But, you know, different markets are doing different things, but we're definitely starting to see the patterns. The Northern Beaches in Sydney was one of the first markets to pick up. naturally we're going to be one of the first markets to come off. There's other cities that were still quite far behind us. I know WA and Adelaide, those areas are still performing really, really well. Areas like Queensland, and guys, if you're on here and you're an agent, feel free to intervene. We want to hear your feedback. I know Queensland, that market is starting to come off, and a lot of these regional areas, those days on market have pushed out significantly, and they are definitely starting to come off as well. But I want to talk about auction clearance rates. Mark, can you just move that screen over to Taj?
It is a live show, guys.
Sorry.
So if you've got any questions, throw them out at us anytime. We'll answer them live, no problem.
Absolutely, we will. Auction clearance rates, something I want to address. Now, understand, guys, the auctioneer is the person that is coming into a campaign at the 11th hour. Phenomenal people, exceptionally talented. We work very closely with auctioneers, and some of them are very, very good friends of ours, and they're reporting all sorts of things. We rely on the information that they report, but they're coming in at the 11th hour.
So are the data companies, so are the banks, so is the media.
Yep, they are.
So they're like most of the data that I'm looking at. RP Data is the biggest supplier of data in the marketplace. It's 3 months old. The market has done a lot in 3 months. So the media is using facts, but they're using old facts. So your good old real estate agent on the ground, suck their brain, ask them the questions, and they know what's happening.
100%. We had a valuation that was done the other day on a property that we had exchanged on a cooling off period. And the valuer said, I can't rely on properties that have sold outside of 4 weeks ago. That's the first time I've heard a valuer say that, because what was happening was we were selling properties and these valuers were coming in and they were actually using comparables from 3 months ago.
4 weeks.
Yeah, so he only wanted to rely on properties that had sold within the last 4 weeks because the market has moved that much. I did an appraisal in March and I'm just reappraising it now. It's quite significant as to what that market has done. It really is.
Now, we had a couple of questions.
Let's go for it. Hey, everyone that's tuned in. Hey, Christopher, hope you're well. Hey, Drew, hope you're well. There you go, Drew. Alice Springs agent. Market is called early July, but last 48 hours.
Hang on.
What's that?
Chris is first.
Okay, go.
Okay, go.
Couldn't agree more about selling, which my parents did. They won't budge. Okay, so here's the thing.
The wogs, they.
You want to be beautiful property as well.
Greeks, the Greeks and the Italians, they're strong. They're like, that's my price, that's it. They won't move.
No, I know. But this is the thing, and I really want this information to get out there. You want to be a buyer in spring, not a seller. You want to be selling now, right, and buying in spring, because the market at this stage is only going to go one way. It's not coming up. It's leveling out. We're definitely seeing signs of that, but it also could shift a little bit as well, depending on what goes on with those interest rates. And I really want to cover that as well, Mark, interest rates, because people are freaking out about the interest rate rises, even though they've had a discount. All right, let's go.
What's Drew doing on his photo?
Market has cooled early July, but last 48 hours, I don't know what that is, but last 48 hours, our
overs and under O&A.
Oh, overs and unders. Okay.
O&As.
No, I don't know. Just reiterate what that is, Drew.
This is Alice Springs language. You have to overlay.
But the market is cooling, right? There's no doubt about that whatsoever. I really want to talk about what's going on with these auctions because it's very choppy. So what we're hearing is
offering acceptance O&As
on certain
O&As.
On certain Saturdays,
Get up with the language, Lisa.
We're getting 0 out of 5s from some of these auctioneers in terms of clearance rates. I just spoke with Vic LaRusso because we're doing an auction tomorrow night in Manly. And I said to Vic, how's it going? And he said, we had a great Saturday, 5 out of 5 auctions sold. One of the properties that he was the auctioneer at had 10 bidders. 10. What do you reckon?
Good property is good property.
Yeah, sorry, say it again.
Good property is good property.
A good property is a good property.
Yeah, it's
right?
like a good real estate agent or a good wife.
Amen to that. So if you've priced it right, if you have priced it right and you've got an agent that is guiding you through the process and giving you good, honest advice about what the market feedback is, you'll be fine.
Yep.
You'll be fine.
Do the job. Get the job done.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter market high, market low. The whole motivation you came to do what you got to do, get it done. Because it's all relative. You're going to be buying. If you're selling low, you're buying low. You're sliding in and out of the market in the same market. Get the job done, guys. Don't get emotional about where it was, because what you're moving into next has moved up or down as well.
100%.
It's cool. Get it
It's
done.
an awesome
Make
time
the
to be buying
transaction.
property.
Or freeze over. This is the exact same climate that I felt when COVID number 1 hit. This is the exact same
Yeah, it
environment.
is.
People
It is.
like
Yep.
they're in that we'll wait and see what happens environment. And after COVID, it went boom. And I noticed some real estate experts, not real estate agents, but economist type of people, developers, were making some big punts on the weekend with what the property market. They're actually talking that it's going to go again. I don't know, but they're saying it's going to go again.
No, but this is my thing, and I want to document it actually, because I reckon there's going to be a mini spike in the market. I really do. There is such a low level of stock coming on. What's happened is with these interest rate rises, it's put the property market into this freezing pattern now. And now we're not seeing huge amounts of stock coming on, except for those people that have to sell because of death, divorce, or debt. Essential selling, that is all that's taking place at the moment. There's not a huge amount of stock coming on, and there are still plenty of buyers. Mark, you had 13 people come through an open home on Saturday.
It's huge.
13,
I
they're
bet
big
you any money
numbers.
12 months later, my parents will be complaining about how expensive
Yeah,
it
that's
is.
right. That is exactly what happens, Chris. That is exactly what happens. People all of a sudden go, oh, we should have bought, we stop being the wait and see buyer. Okay, stop doing
true.
that. This
It's
could very
true.
well be the bottom of the market. And the only way, we say it all the time, the only way you guys are going to know whether or not it is when it's too late, right? So this is a wonderful environment to be buying in.
Oh, it's
wonderful.
And I look, forgive me because I'm so bloody long term in the way I look at stuff. It kills people because people are very in the moment, and I'm like the long game. First of all, there's a famous saying. They said to the guy, famous American guy, I can't remember his name, big property investor. They said, how's the property market? And he said, fantastic. And they went, what? He goes, it's fantastic. What do you mean? And he said, it's been excellent the last 100 years.
Yeah, that's it.
And I'm looking forward to the next 100 years.
That's it.
Very long term.
That is the reality of it. And the problem is that these buyers that are looking at transacting or buying into the market at the moment are thinking too short term, right?
Hard.
You've got a discount of 15 to 20% on your property buying. Be careful, guys.
I'm
Be
not going to
really
buy
careful.
because the market's too hot at the moment.
Yeah.
Same person.
What are you waiting for? You were waiting
Same
for a hot
person.
market.
I'm not going to buy.
Yeah.
The market's too cold. Same person. So when are you going to buy? If the market's hot, the market's cold.
Yeah.
It's a buyer's market. It's the seller's market. You got to buy. Second thing, great information. Sydney property market, Melbourne property market. Looking across the markets, I was reading up some really interesting data. The last 50 years in property, Sydney has had a compound interest of about 7.3% per year for the last 50 years. Furthermore, the market corrects in Sydney on average every
2 to 3 years.
5.
Really?
It corrects every 5 years. So that may
Wow.
be 7 years, it may be 2 years. Who knows when it's going to be, but it's coming. With that correction, it normally corrects about 5% when it does correct.
Okay.
So, guys, we are on trend. We are on point. This happens all the time. You may think it's because of this. You may think it's because of that. But it just always bloody happens.
And
are there any more questions? Don't forget, guys, live show, throw your response, your questions or anything through to us.
I will never
Have a chat.
forget. I will never forget. I was selling this 2-bedroom apartment in Pacific Parade, and the market was like it was now. It had gone flat. Actually, it's not flat at the moment, but flat in comparison to what it was in November, December. And I tried to park my car on Pacific Parade in Dee Why, which is ordinarily quite a busy address anyway. And I thought, oh my God, I can't find anywhere to park. I'm going to be late to my open home. long story short, got into the open home, and a lady said to me, "Oh, there's quite a lot of people coming up the stairs." And I said, "Oh, are they? How come?" And she goes, "I don't know. I think they must all be here for your open home." And I remember looking over the balcony going, "Oh my God, there must have been 50 people coming up the stairwell."
When was this?
This would have been about 2.5 years ago.
Yep.
And it made the front page of the Manly Daily because it literally was the turning of that market. I don't know how all you guys know when it's a hot market, but you seem to know that Saturday when it's going to take place, and you all come back into the market at the same time and buy and push those property prices back up.
So about interest rates.
Just be careful. This is your David Jones half-yearly clearance sale. I've said it before. Before we do that, Mark, I just want to talk about this, auction and the data that is getting out to you guys in the news. Don't believe everything you hear on the news. Ask your local real estate agent or your auctioneer, right? Vic LaRusso, top
Real estate
guy.
agents are
Tom
very honest
Panos,
people.
top guy. Ask these guys or reach out to us about what is going on in the marketplace. Because my team did 4 sales last week. We've got an auction tomorrow night, which I'm pretty confident will sell. The market is not all that bad, right? We're getting on average about 6 to 8 buyers coming through open homes. That is definitely not a flat market. So be careful who you're getting your information from. It's
Interest
not all bad.
rates.
Let's talk about it.
You
Go on,
love-
you're the numbers man.
What?
You're a numbers guy, go.
Well, you want to get your angle on it first.
Okay. Well, they've gone up. Are they going to go up again? Look, there's talk that these interest rates are going to go up to maybe 4 to 4.5%. I'm a facts kind of girl, and I only like to deal with stuff that happens as it happens. I don't deal well with playing into emotions and speculation, but there is talk that they're going to go up to sort of 4 to 4.5%. They're still low. They're still low. Like, whoever thought that they were
Still
going
low.
to
They
stay
really are.
at that
They
level
really
had
are,
rocks in their head.
Yep.
You had rocks in your head, guys, if you thought they were staying at that level.
Yeah, and I think everyone's poised. That's part of the you see the magical thing that the government has always done with interest rates is we put a little thing on Big Brother last week. Check it out on Facebook. But the government's always regulated the property market, and they've always regulated the property market lately with compliance and funding, but always with interest rates. Fact. So that's always been, but when you try to work that out, a tier above that is sentiment. So when you change these interest rates around, or the level of lending around, it changes consumer sentiment around. Changing consumer sentiment around will make people not buy or compel people to buy. So there is a manipulation in the market. I'm actually glad that we do it well. I don't mind it either.
Yeah. And honestly, so this is a really big thing at the moment.
Tell me honestly.
It's a big thing. So I just spoke to a vendor now just before we came on here, and they had listed with another agent. It was a property that was not really out of area for us. It was still Northern Beaches, but it's an area I don't sell in a lot. She called me up tonight and she said, "Lisa, we've been on the market for, I think it was 68 days or something." She said, "My husband wanted to go with this agent. I wanted to go with you. It's been the most awful experience. He promised us 1.2. We understand the market's come off." And I'm looking at all the properties that have recently sold around there, and I'm like, they're a 1.1 to 1.2 property. Everything's selling around them for that. I just wonder what that proposal looked like from that agent to those vendors, because stock levels are low and listings are getting harder to get. There are some agents that are out there that are actually upping the appraisal price to get the listing. They're over-promising and they're under-delivering. And what's happening is the market then slips away from them and they're like, shit, now I don't know what to do. And it's, this is a situation not from this vendor, Mark. This is a call I'm getting a lot now.
But guys, you got to be careful. Make sure your agent is not the restaurant. He's not the survey in your restaurant that talks about what they don't have available on the menu.
Yeah.
So how many times you go to a restaurant, someone goes, "I just want to say we don't have this bread, this dessert,
Yeah.
this drink.
Yeah.
They haven't even said hello. And it's like, oh, far out. And so make sure that the agent that's selling your property, and this really makes a difference how you package stuff up. Make sure that agent has a good energy. Make sure that agent is optimistic about the market, property itself. Make sure, because often the agents at the moment think, I'm going to be real and tell people how it is, and you literally feel like necking yourself.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
So just be
it's
really
all
careful.
doom and gloom.
Yeah. So,
and you know what? It's not all doom and gloom.
It's not.
It's not.
It's not.
And you know what I'm saying to my vendors? Like there's a 2-bedder that I've had on in DY, and my vendors are looking for something with a 9 in front. Now the market's not there. And I said to them the other day, guys, at 850, I've got 2 buyers for you. At 880, I have a potential buyer for you. And at 900, I have no one for you. So if you want to sell, we can sell today at 850, or we might be able to sell next week at around 880. But at 900, you probably just want to take the property off the market and keep your great tenant. Sell hope. Sell hope. As Mark said, churches
make a lot of money out of it.
That's right. But
churches do really well out of selling hope.
The last thing, again, we're specialists. The last thing you want to do is sit in front of your doctor, right, who's going, oh, it's looking really bad for you, Lisa. It's not great news, right? You've got to honestly make it. It is positive out there. It's not all bad.
It's like the doctor goes,
it's not all bad.
With the Band-Aid, you go, it's all done. But then there's a doctor goes, does that hurt? Does that hurt? And you're like, it just takes you through slowly.
That's right.
Done. Because sometimes your agent wants to be you. So sometimes your solicitor wants to be you and they want to negotiate all the clauses and negotiate the price. Sometimes the agent wants to protect you and hold you in their bosom and do more damage than they don't realise. So I think you just got to make sure.
But also the choice
that's on the job.
But Mark, the choice is with the vendor. So, my vendor who wanted the 9 in front and didn't want to sell for anything less, that's okay. You got an awesome tenant in there. Yeah. They're paying you great rent. They want to stay on, keep them there, right? And then I'll call you when the market comes up, like I did with 28 Foam Street and made those vendors $1 million. I'll call you when the market comes up.
More questions. Guys, throw us questions. We want questions. It's a live show.
Still extremely low and not a bad thing, guys. Remember the days of the 18%.
That's the next one.
What are your thoughts on the commercial market right now? Mark, that's over to you.
There's pressure on yields. So where you're buying stuff at 4.5% good assets, you're now the buyer is demanding 4.8, 5.2% for big assets.
But it's doing well. What about rentals in commercials? They're doing, it is. It's doing really well.
I think everywhere else. I was going to say, I think northern, like areas that are sort of out of Sydney are doing a little bit better because people have decentralised. But I am noticing the city's doing really well with their rents.
Yeah, it is. It is, absolutely.
I think it's all going okay at the moment.
True. Still extremely low and not a bad thing, guys. Remember the days of 18%? Exactly. I'm often saying that. to buyers. I'm
saying to people, if you thought money was going to be free for longer than 1 or 2 years, you're wrong, because you could have got a fixed interest rate at 1.8%. Like, to me, that's almost pretty much free money.
Yep.
Get used to something higher.
Love this strategy. Real. And yes, it's not doom and gloom. It's far from it, guys. No. It is far from it. Do not believe everything you are hearing in the media. And bear in mind, the media collects data from all across Sydney and Greater Sydney. There's no doubt there's some areas that aren't performing well. The Northern Beaches. And guess what? The prestige market is still going gangbusters. It is going gangbusters. It's a great market. Tomorrow night we've got an auction. Stay tuned for that, guys. 54 Addison Road in Manly, beautiful 2-bedroom apartment, and you've got Little Manly Beach right at your back door. Stay tuned. I'm not doing a lot of auctions at the moment. I rarely do, actually. I'm not a big auction agent, but in this case it is a deceased estate, and if I feel it's the best option for my vendor, of course that is what I'm going to do. And also, Mark, a freshwater jewel that I've brought on. It's pretty much a knockdown. It's a great property.
Keep an eye on that one. That's a good one.
It's a good one in a top location in Freshie. There's not much stock on the market in freshwater. This one has not hit the real estate portals. It's a social media and database only. 21 Carlton Street in Freshwater. We have had enormous, today alone, that went out to my email database and onto my socials. I reckon I've had about 30 inquiries on it.
Huge.
The market's not
Adrian
quiet.
Sacco, g'day, buddy.
Hey,
Long
Adrian.
time, and
Hope
he's
you're
saying money's
well.
still cheap. It is,
Yeah.
guys. Thank you for your comments tonight.
Thank you, guys.
To Chris, to Narelle, to Drew, to Adrian, and to everyone else who's made comments. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate all your
And
support.
that's
Really
interesting.
do.
That's what's happening on the ground in the Northern Beaches in Sydney at the moment. I hope with help. We're here. Just pick up the phone if you've got any questions. And tonight was interesting. We had everyone calling appraisals, the whole team. And these a lot of the comments that have come out of tonight have come into tonight's live to help you. So hopefully it has.
See you guys. Have a great week, everyone. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. I can get off my little
See ya.
perch now.
Yeah, she's on
I'm
a
not
perch.
really.
There's
I'm not
actually-
really
yeah,
that.
step
I'm not
down.
really that.
Step down, Liz. Show everyone what the
Well, I
true-
look really, really
no, show
short.
the true. Just come here and show you the true height. Look. No, you're still standing on. Get down. No, you still got 1 foot down. Come down on it.
Bye, guys.